ensure. For many years, these directives were carried out under the charge of Mr. Shoaib Satul, who sits right here. That was a one-man commission. He worked strenuously, selflessly, and achieved many objectives. I may agree with Sabahat, there's a lot more to be done. But pursuant to that judgment, there was movement and a great deal was done. Today, the minorities see that judgment as an umbrella which protects their rights. Today, the Supreme Court acts as a facilitator vis-à-vis the government authorities who have been cooperative. We must not overlook the fact, ladies and gentlemen, we have been through at least 3 decades of extremism. We have lost 80,000 citizens in this country to extremism. And by the grace of God, the situation is improving. And a lot of the complaints regarding violence which the minorities had, and even Muslims had, because of sectarian rivalries, they have diminished. I think that resilience which the Pakistani nation has shown through these turbulent times is a great credit to the people of Pakistan. And with great respect, also the state of Pakistan. Things are on the mend. A task force which was not in existence has come into being recently on 16th of November 2022 under the chairmanship of the Additional Secretary, Ministry of Religious Affairs and Interfaith Harmony. The members of the task force include almost all important executive functionaries in the country, which means that the issues relating to minorities protection and minorities rights would now be handled by persons who are directly related and who have authority over the persons that will carry out the instructions. I have hope and expectation that this task force will do well. Our association with Mr. Satul continues because he is a court appointee. The court has a special implementation bench. 9 years have passed, but there is an implementation bench for this judgment. And today I will mention a few issues. I said file an application. You see, courts cannot pass executive orders. We cannot act on verbal statements or complaints. These matters come to us through petitions or applications. Notice is issued to the concerned parties and respondents come forward and an order is passed after hearing the parties. But these are public interest proceedings. There's nothing adversarial about that. And I may assure you, for quite some time I was the chairman of the implementation bench. Now it is headed by someone else. And we always found cooperation from the government of Pakistan, as well as the provincial governments. So, nothing to despair about. Be positive, and inshallah, we'll progress further in this direction. You see, the protection of minority rights, the protection of rights of different sects within the fold of Islam, all this has to do with awareness and knowledge. You will be pleased to know that the Islamic faith does not appreciate sectarianism. Does not appreciate sectarianism. There are several verses of the Quran that talk about it. And it is said that leave these differences to God. Don't fight amongst yourselves. What you have to do is Amar bil Maroof wa Nahi anil Munkar. Amar bil Maroof is do good deeds. Nahi anil Munkar is others who do bad deeds, just inform them and tell them, don't do this. You don't have to become violent. You don't have to become aggressive, but you should stop that. You should advise that. In relation to religion, the Surah Baqarah in ayat 256 says, there is no compulsion about religion. There is no compulsion in faith. This is your own will, your own wish. In Surah Maida, which is number 5, Surah 5, ayat 32, it is said, whoever kills one person unjustly is as though he has killed all of mankind. And whoever saves one life, it is as though he has saved all mankind. Mankind, whatever the form, whatever the color, whatever the creed, whatever the faith, is indistinguishable. There is no discrimination. That is how the Almighty considers human beings. In Surah Al-An'am 6, Surah 6, 108, the Almighty says, do not denigrate the deities of other faiths, lest in their ignorance, they disrespect Allah. Thus, Allah has made pleasing to every community their deeds. Let them do their deeds, their religious deeds. In Surah Hajj 22, ayat 40, he says, due to the intervention of Allah to protect the places of worship of other faiths, the people who were confronting and fighting with each other did not destroy those places of worship. God intervened to prevent the destruction of places of worship. This is how important they are. This is how important the right of worship is. And so on. There's more, but I will not spend more time on that. What I would now turn to is the judiciary. Is the institution to which Justice Cornelius belongs or belonged, the heritage that he's left behind, the lessons that we can learn from him. We have a duty, ladies and gentlemen, under the Constitution and pursuant to our oath, to preserve, to protect, and to defend the Constitution. This is our bounden duty, the highest law in the country, and this duty we perform with utmost commitment and sincerity. The force of judgments that we give must be in accordance with the Constitution and the law. And when that is the case, our judgments have a moral authority. Just like the words of the Bible have moral authority, just like the words of the Holy Quran have moral authority. Moral authority comes from something which is good, something which is pure. Our judgments have the force of moral authority when they are given in accordance with the Constitution and the law of Pakistan. When do judgments have moral authority? Ladies and gentlemen, they have moral authority when they are passed on the merits of the case. Otherwise, in Tamizuddin's case, 1955, dissolution of the Constituent Assembly, the majority said Sindh High Court didn't have jurisdiction, so they couldn't go to the merits of the case. Justice Cornelius said no. The Constituent Assembly is an organ higher than the Governor General's wishes and discretion to give assent. It was said that the Sindh High Court doesn't have jurisdiction because the law under which they are doing this did not have the assent of the Governor General. And by doing so, by declaring that assent was not necessary, the learned single judge, the dissenting judge, Mr. Justice Cornelius, held that the dissolution of the Constituent Assembly was illegal and unconstitutional. That judgment survives today as an example because it was on the merits of the case. Whenever we resort to technicality, our focus is shifted elsewhere. I'm not talking about Pakistan. I'm talking about all over the world. All over the world, one comes up with objections that such and such judgment is weak because it does not deal with the real issue. And when it comes to constitutional enforcement, we must not blink our eyes. If it says 90 days for holding elections, it is our duty to say that. It is not our choice. It is not our choice. It is our duty to say that, instead of finding a reason why we should avoid to say that. This is what has happened. You call it controversy. I'm sorry, I'm not worthy of controversy. I'm a very humble person. You say you support us, please don't say that. I'm just one of the members of the Supreme Court of Pakistan. If you stand up for the Constitution and the law, then you must support the Supreme Court of Pakistan. And not any individual. We have no existence individually. Our existence is as a unit, as a constitutional organ, and that is how we function. But the important thing is that the Supreme Court, when it speaks on merit, its judgment has moral authority. That becomes even more important when those judgments are not appealed or no review is filed. Then that means no one has any objection to the judgment. If a review is filed, then it will be heard, because no judgment is binding unless it becomes final. But if a judgment is not challenged, then it becomes final. So let's see what happens now. Let's see what happens now. And I'm optimistic that the people of Pakistan, the leaders of Pakistan, the institutions of Pakistan are all committed to the Constitution. Do you know that in this context, the leaders of Pakistan, the political leadership of Pakistan, agreed to start negotiations, which have not ended yet. This is what we were informed. We have nothing to do with that. but at least they are conscious that they have a duty to comply the Constitution. And we are there to support that effort. Otherwise, our judgment is there. It has a force of its own. It may not be implemented today, but it will last to the test of time and shall be implemented tomorrow. Now, I have not much more to say except to thank our hosts, Mr. Samuel Pyare. Where is he? Yes, sir. Mr. Samuel Pyare, the Honorable Bishop, the pastors and the bishops, and I don't remember exactly what your offices are, but it's a matter of privilege to be here. I haven't told you that one of the most respected citizen of Pakistan, for whom thousands of people have love and affection, is sitting here amongst us. He is devoted to education because he feels, and rightly so, that education is the source for progress for the individual and for his community and for society as a whole, because he comes back and shares his education. Who has given away money, time, effort, love, support, everything to students for giving them good education. He is the founder of one of the best institutions, academic institutions in the country, which started as a business school but today offers engineering, law. Tomorrow it will be medicine, I'm sure. I'm not sure if there's a medical school yet or no. Not yet. And I'm talking about Sayyid Babar Ali. Let's give him a... It's delightful to meet wonderful people. And as Sayyid Babar Ali had a role in my life also. So thank you, sir. My other great benefactor sits here, Justice Tassaduq Hussain Jilani, totally committed to the law, so gentle and so refined, such a good example of judicial character, conduct, bearing, and delivery. I salute him also, because one of the great advantages in life, or blessings of life, is when you have heroes to look up to. So I am very lucky in that respect. Within my profession, within my vocation of judges and my profession of the law amongst lawyers, I have come across such outstanding people. I cannot stop thanking the Almighty for those associations. This is a memorable occasion for me. Thank you very much, all of you. My best wishes. And the implementation bench is always there. File an application and let's see what happens. Thank you.
لاہور میں چیف جسٹس اظہار خیال کر رہے تھے. انہوں نے عدالتوں کے فیصلوں کی اخلاقی حیثیت ہوتی ہے. عدالتیں ایگزیکٹو آرڈر پاس نہیں کر سکتی. آئین اقلیتوں کے حقوق کا تحفظ کا ضامن ہے.
زیادہ خوبیاں, سب سے بہتر قیمت. ڈیو فوم جیز مٹلو میکس سے بے شمار انٹرنیٹ کالز اور ٹیکسٹ کے مزے اڑاؤ.
کون اس کا آنسر بتائے گا؟
سر A² پلس
سر لگتا ہے لیکن سگنلز نہیں آ رہے.
لاسٹ پیریڈ میں گیم ہاتھ سے چھوٹنے لگے تو کھاؤ کیڈبری مورو کیرمل نوگا چاکلیٹ کا مزیدار بوسٹ.
बाइक की गेम उड़ गई है।
मोरो खाओ और रीसेट हो जाओ।
ट्यूलेक्स वेदर शील्ड पावर फ्लेक्स, जिसकी ट्रिपल डिफेंस टेक्नोलॉजी रखे घर को हर तरह के मौसम से महफूज और करे खुशियों की हिफाजत।
हर मैदान में शेर। ड्यूरोफोम प्राइस चैलेंज के सामने बाकी सारे मैट्रेसेस क्लीन बोर्ड। सबसे ज्यादा खूबियां, सबसे बेहतर कीमत। ड्यूरोफोम।
गर्मी में हर कदम लगे चलते कोयलों पर चलना, सीट लगे जैसे खौलता तवा और बस बन जाए अमन, पर घर आते ही हो जाता है सब कूल।
डेटॉल कूल, इसका मेंथोल फार्मूला दे 5 डिग्री तक कूलिंग सेंसेशन और रखिए आपको बदबू फैलाने वाले जर्म से बहुत दूर। रहो गर्मी से दूर और 5 डिग्री कूल।
लाइफ का मजा तो तभी आता है जब हम किसी भी लम्हे को खुशी से जोड़ लेते हैं।
और इन्हीं लम्हों